Because, yeah, like, people are saying, like, as much as I want to try Elden Ring, I know it's going to happen. I'm going to play it for, I don't know, 5-6 hours, and I'm going to bounce. Because I'm just going to be like, it's not for me. It's way too long. I'm never going to see the end of this, and I don't want to. Like, I don't care to spend this much time in a world that just doesn't interest me. Now, go ahead and sharpen the pitchforks and
I'm not going to
light the torches.
Pitchforks on you.
I'm
with
interested
you.
to see. I'm interested to see if that ends up being the case, because I know several people for whom this was the one that clicked. So I find that incredibly sad. As somebody who just remembered that he has to platinum in every FromSoft game since Dark Souls 1, as somebody who is, obviously very into these games, I love seeing it click with new people.
Yeah.
There were a lot of people for whom Bloodborne was like the one,
That was the first one I actually played.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, okay.
It's so stupid, and I actually wonder how much of it is because of the job that I have and like the nature of the job that I have. But the menus in Bloodborne and Demon Souls and Dark Souls, like, you hit a button and it's just like text, like the whole screen is tiny text, and you have to read all of it, and it's so stat based, and I'm just like, I do this every day. Like, I don't. This does not need to exist in my private, like, fun
I feel
time.
like that sometimes too. When I open, it's like you got a new sword or a new shield, and I'm like sick, and I look, and you can't like compare the stats. I have to literally like look back and forth, like, is this better or worse? Like, it's like it has the same ability, so is it essentially the same shield with a different name? Like, I don't know, like, that kind of stuff does annoy me. But I also think, and I suffered from this a little bit because I honestly wouldn't be playing Elden Ring if it wasn't gifted to my wife and I had access to it. Right, at least right now, I wouldn't be playing it. Is that, Chris? I feel like you just don't want to feel like you have to play something because everyone else is playing something.
I'm very much a hipster that way.
I feel the same way, like, all the time. I want to play what I want to play, and then people are always like, you're not playing Red Dead Redemption 2, like, all no.
If I tell Chris, you gotta play Elden Ring, he's never gonna play it.
You know what I did before we hopped on today? What I was playing? The Simpsons Road Rage.
Banjo-Kazooie.
No. I played The Simpsons Road Rage, and I was like, man, this game still rips. Like, I haven't played that game in I don't even know how long. But it's just like random stuff like that I'm like, yeah, I'd much rather play. It's a tight experience. I can play for, I played for 20 minutes. I felt like I got something out of it. I got a new character, I got a new level, and then I left.
Yeah. They weren't trying to sell you something.
Right. It just, it is exactly what it is, and that's fine.
But I feel like in our bubble also, and in our industry, there is this pressure to like always be on top of what everybody else is playing and talking about. Yeah. And I don't want to feel that pressure.
I'm losing a lot of that. Like, and not just with video games, like even TV and movies. Like,
same.
Moon Knight is out. I haven't watched a single episode. I have no desire to watch it.
I don't have any desire.
I wanted to actually talk about that because I just watched the first episode of Moonlight last night. Sorry. I've been drinking this. Shout outs to oh my god.
That was
you
on
have
us.
Been drinking it.
You shouldn't have tried to say night twice in a sentence.
Yeah. Last night I've been watching Moon Knight.
I've been drinking this drink is called a Polish Party because I learned about this drink when I went to the Polish Party at PAX 2018. This is Zbrowka vodka and pure unfiltered pressed apple juice. And you can cut that also with 1 part water if you want. But this stuff is so freaking good. Let me tell you guys. And it'll get you there.
You appear to already be there.
Yeah.
I am there. I am there.
You've left the Shire.
I've had breakfast and 11Cs and luncheon just in this glass right here. But it's great. But I didn't eat anything since lunch. So it's hitting me
in a different
sideways,
way.
But in a good way.
Yeah.
So what was I talking about?
I don't know, man.
You've left
Damn
the
it.
Shire.
Write that down, Josh.
Yeah.
I did.
Okay. What was I
wrote it
talking
down.
about? I was talking about something. I was making
We were
some
talking about like
sort of
not feeling pressured to do
Yeah.
something.
And then I
Knight.
said I haven't watched Moon Knight, and then you cut me off.
Oh yeah.
And then you talked about being drunk.
Fair. And I apologize for that. But I watched the first episode of Moon Knight, and this is the most fun I've had watching a Marvel show in a really long time.
Is that because we haven't had a Marvel show in 3 months?
No, I just think that it embraces like just weird stuff in a way that I really appreciate. This is definitely the none of the other Marvel shows have I watched the first episode and been like, fuck yeah, I'm in. More than this one. This one, like most of them, like it took a couple episodes for me to get into WandaVision and like all these other ones. And this one, I'm like, hell yeah, dude, give me more immediately. But then it was like, I think like 11:15 and the next episode was an hour. And I'm like, okay, so wait a minute. And then I'll come back to you later. But yeah, I'm really enjoying that.
Yeah. Well, I also,
that's cool.
Because it doesn't feel like Marvel.
Yeah.
It feels like something totally different.
But like,
It feels totally different.
My favorite YouTuber of all time, Patrick Willems. He always does like a year wrap up thing where he talks about everything that he watched in a year, TV or movies or otherwise, and comics and stuff. And he talks about whether or not he really liked them, or usually it's the stuff he liked or whatever. And he had a line in the one he did about last year where he said, I talked to a bunch of my friends and they all kept talking about this thing. They kept saying like nobody's really making like movies anymore. Like they're all making Marvel stuff. But then when you ask them what they've been watching, it's like only Marvel stuff. And he's like, you realize that other movies come out, right? Like you don't have to. He's like, when you go to the movies and your friends are like, well, I'm going to go see Spider-Man for the second or third time. And he's like, dude, there are other great fucking movies like coming out that people aren't talking about.
You could go watch 3 Billboards outside of, what is it, Lansing, Michigan or whatever.
We have the same thing in games where like everyone's playing Horizon, everyone's playing Zelda, everyone's playing Elden Ring. And it's like, there are like probably like 5 or 10 other games that came out this month or in the last couple months that are fucking great that no one's talking about. And like, you could be playing those. You could be playing old things that you really like. Like, I don't feel like, I feel like there's this weird pressure to like always be playing part of the conversation. What everyone else is playing. Yeah. And then when you say like, I'm not playing Elden Ring currently, people are like, what? But it's so good.
Have any of us played Horizon?
He did.
I've talked about it for the last like 3 episodes.
What I realize
Hey, did I tell you how good this drink is, man?
What I realize as I get older is the more I have that interaction, the more I have people go, you should do this. You're not doing this. You should totally watch it.
It makes you want to do it less.
It makes me want to do it even less.
Yep.
Like,
yeah.
If you just left it at, oh, it's good, I think you'd like it. That's all you need to say. That will not affect whether or not I watch it in the future. Maybe it'll affect it more, but the whole thing of like, you've never seen X or you've never played Y, I feel like is just really annoying. And I think people need to stop. I've tried really hard to stop doing it. Like I met someone recently who they'd never seen Star Wars, and someone expected me to be like, you know what?
You have to go see it.
And my reaction was, you're allowed to have not seen things.
Yeah.
It's fine. Yeah. Like, it's not that big a deal.
You're still here. I'm still here.
I'm like, watch it if you want. I don't care. It's like, it's like, I feel like we need to move forward as a society. If we live in a society,
we really do.
We need to let people just like not be a part of the conversation sometimes, and realize that sometimes like trying to push people in makes them want to be a part of it even less.
Yeah.
You know,
for some people, for other people, like that communal aspect is something of value. Like for me, like that's a thing where like people are like, oh man, you got to go see this. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I could go see that. And then we could talk about it. Like that sounds fun to me. Mm-hmm. But another thing is like, I feel like there's a degree to which the kind of countercultural movement of, okay, there's a lot of Marvel movies coming out. There's a lot of Marvel shows coming out. There's a lot of Star Wars. There's a lot of just extended era franchises that are going on. Let me go watch like a Korean movie. Exactly. Let me go watch Train to Busan. Let me go watch, The Pianist. Or, like those are I guess both like critically acclaimed movies, but like you get what I mean. Like
nobody's talking about that right now on Twitter. Like
nobody's talking about The Pianist because the movie came out like 12 years ago.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
I mean, it's great, but it's also old. Yeah.
But yeah, or like Life is Good or something. You know what I mean? Like there's a degree to which people are like, oh yeah, no, you should. And by the way, I said 3 billboards outside of Lansing, Michigan. It's not. It's 3 billboards outside of Ebbing, Missouri. Totally different place. But like there's a lot of stuff like that where it's like when we started this show and then we decided, hey, we're into Marvel stuff. We're going to do spoiler cast for Marvel stuff. We're going to do spoiler cast for DC stuff. And like, I wasn't going with other people because of my job. I was going during the day. I realized I really just like watching movies. Like, and whatever it is, I really enjoy that. And whether that's going for a big 3-hour long, The Batman, film viewing, or whether that's just, I want to just go sit alone in the theater at like 11:15 a.m. and watch like some small indie movie. Like, I just like that experience. There's just something interesting to me about that. And, to another degree, I've also really kind of come back to my roots of reading books lately. And, even like just reading comic books and stuff, like going to my local library and like perusing their comic aisle or like different books and things like that and finding interesting things to read and kind of dip into. And I feel the same way about video games and about indie games particularly. Like, they're really cool. Like, not everybody played Inscription last year, but that was a great game. Not everybody played Loop Hero. That was a great game. Like, that was a small game. It wasn't super involved. It wasn't this big AAA Elden Ring thing. And it definitely wasn't the zeitgeist, unless you were listening to this show.
Yeah.
In which case, Josh and I were just constantly talking about
like,
Loop Hero.
Oh my God.
But like right now I'm playing Variable Barricade, which is like a romance visual novel on Switch. Just cuz like it looks cool. Like, why not? I don't know. I think there's a lot of value in just like in the world of Elden Ring, just kind of exploring the space, wandering over and seeing, hey, is there something for me over here? Is there something for me in this small game that nobody's talking about? And I feel like there's an element of our jobs that like pushes us to play the AAA stuff, but like I'm never going to play Horizon Forbidden West probably.
I probably won't.
I'm not going to finish it.
And like, I don't care. I'd much rather find like some cool little indie gem or something.
I'd rather play something that's going to get its hooks in me than something that I feel obligated to play, is what it comes down to.
Not because, and I was going to say, not because I'm a hipster or anything.
$60 on, right?
Right.
I'm definitely not. Yeah, I'm definitely not a hipster, but just like I find a lot of value in exploring the space. And like, I've talked to a lot of people in the industry lately, and just like, it's been obvious for like years now, since like, I think early to midway through the PS4, Xbox One generation, that like indies are just doing more interesting things generally.
Yeah.
I don't think that's very like controversial.
Big AAA games are like more risk averse than they've maybe ever been. But I don't know.
I would say yeah. They're a lot more risk averse than they've ever been, but it's because the price of everything is so expensive. Like, making games is much more expensive than it was, and it's about to become even more expensive.
Wasn't it Sean Layden who was saying that?
I don't know.
Like, before he left Sony, he was like, AAA games are like just getting way too expensive to make. Like, this is just not. It's just not sustainable.
The jump to 4K is killing them.
That too.
Yeah, it's just
because it's like makes everything take twice as long. Also.
Yeah.
And even then, you have games like, as much as I love Elden Ring, like the PC port is not good.
Yeah.
Like,
but on top of that, like, you just also have way more competition, where it's like, we had, when League of Legends got huge and Dota was coming back, everyone's like, well, we have to be the third pillar there, right? We have to compete. And so everybody made a fucking MOBA. And then when PUBG got big, everybody had to make a battle royale. And now there's only a couple that like really stuck around. But now it's like,
yeah,
people are like just trying to find like that next engine that's going to like churn out money essentially, which isn't as exciting. But I
don't care how much people make on games. Like, I want people to be able to eat, but like, yeah, like I don't know.
Yeah.
The big machines like Fortnite, I'm just like, I don't care. Yeah. Like, no build mode is great because like I didn't care about building, but
sure. But yeah, it's a weird industry and a weird time to be a fan of games because I feel like we have more choice than ever, but at the same time,
we have more choice than ever, and I don't like any of it.
People aren't it's just like people aren't necessarily making choices. They're just like following what everyone else is playing, I guess.
I can play Destiny and embrace just the never-ending grind for more loot and more loot and more loot, or I can embrace Gran Turismo 7 and just pay $40 for one car.
Is that a real thing?
On microtransactions, yes.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it fucking sucks. You can pay $70 for a game, and then they ask you to pay $40 for one car.
Or you could get Game Pass, and you could just play Forza. Or you could just go buy Forza.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you can just go buy it. Or you can get on Steam and get some sales. Or you can play Tunic on Game Pass. Or you can play Young Souls on Game Pass, which I'm going to talk about later in the show. At some point, whether now or later. But I think that it's important as people in the industry and as just like, I guess, responsible. I mean, this is maybe a moralistic stance that I'm taking right now, but like as just like responsible consumers to not only responsibly participate in the AAA zeitgeist, but also try to be curators and discoverers of valuable small things that are precious.
Sometimes it is worth it to go to Steam and look at some of the early access stuff and see like what is really popular at the time, because I found games that I never would have probably heard of ever and played them and been like, that was fun. Like, I think that is a very useful tool to have. And obviously that's not like the best tool, but like there is a little bit of filtering there from the community saying like, hey, this thing is like pretty great, right? And most of the time those games are not things made by giant studios or by billion-dollar companies like Epic. They're like, 3 people made this dinky little pixel game that's $5 and you play it and then you end up putting 100 hours into it. Whereas like a lot of the AAA games, I feel like these days, I think Chris and I have the same exact experience where we spend like $60 on something, we end up playing it for 4 hours.
Yeah, the disc turns into a frisbee and I'm like, cool.
Yeah.
That was not fun.
Whereas I look at what I do and I find myself playing games like just like free to play stuff and putting in like 1,000 hours into those. I'm like, I didn't spend any money and I'm still going.
Yeah, like Path of Exile or whatever.
Yeah. Like I recently rebooted up Team Fortress 2 super randomly, just because like
that is random.
Can't play. I'm still on my like Blizzard thing until Bobby's gone, so I'm like, can't play Overwatch. What can I play that's the next closest thing that's not like Paladins? I was like, I can, which isn't quite the same. I was like, I guess I can play TF2, and I jump back into it. I'm like, oh yeah, this game's fun as shit. I remember why I put like 500 hours into it in college because it's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've been like dicking around with that a little bit and see. It's like, I'm with Chris. Just whatever you feel like doing, whatever your heart
do whatever
is
the hell
telling
you
you
want
to do in that moment. If your heart is like, man, I really want to play fucking Crazy Taxi on my Dreamcast, man, go for it.
For sure. Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Live it. Live your truth.
And that's a great thing. I mean, and that's a big thing. That's been something that I've had to wrestle with as I kind of became more involved with the fighting game community. Because like now, one of the things that I want to do, like there are 2 things that I want to play right now. One is Elden Ring, which is a game that I've already platinumed, and the other one is Guilty Gear. Like, and it's been awesome. Like I've just been like, all right, this week I'm gonna play Soul Bad Guy. This week I'm gonna play Baiken next week I'm going to play Ramblefall Valentine. You know what I mean? And it's something that I'm doing. It's something that I get together with my friends and say, hey, let's play together. Let's play this game. And because I'm having so much fun with this, I don't care about Horizon. Like, I hear people be like, oh yeah, she kind of like talks about how to solve the puzzle if you just sit there for like 2 seconds. And I'm like, you know what? I don't want people spoiling my fun. I don't need to see that shit. I don't want a thing with a ton of markers on the map. I prefer something where I can explore and kind of discover things on my own, like Elden Ring, or I want to just have something where it's just me and my friends sitting down playing some sets and Guilds Gear. And that's been really fun for me. And realizing that, like, I don't need to chase this. I don't need to play Horizon. I don't need to play whatever other AAA thing that comes out in 2 weeks. I'm just going to play Guilty Gear with my friends and just chill.
Yeah, I have a challenge.
When I feel like doing something else, I'll do that.
I have a challenge for you and Josh and anybody listening.
Oh, great. Play.
Find 2 or 3 of your friends. No. Find 2 or 3 of your friends. Find a game that supports local multiplayer. And have your friends come over in person and play that game. Because there's a good chance that most of you haven't done it in over 2 years.
That's a lie. I did it 2 months ago.
Yeah.
I played at Mario Kart 8 with a bunch of people and my niece who, like, she's like 7 now, so she's old enough to think she's hot shit at like Mario Kart, which is really funny. So then, like, I my wife told me, like, okay, settle down, because at one point when we booted up, she was like, what track do you want to play to everybody who's playing? And I was like, I don't know, just pick where you want to lose. So much fun. So I'm with you. Playing games in person, there is something great with it.
Bright side in the chat. If you're not playing Mario Tennis N64 on a Thursday night, are you even human? He was he came over to my house a couple weeks ago with a bunch of people, and like we played Mario Tennis for like 3 hours and just like passed controllers around, and it was just pure nonsense. It was amazing. But like those types of moments don't happen enough anymore. And I know a lot of it is because of COVID and people are still warming up to the idea of spending time with each other. But
yeah, as soon as Riley can be vaccinated, I am having people over. I'll tell you.
It is so...
And that day is fast approaching.
Yeah, it was just so much fun. And I forgot how much I enjoyed it. And as much as I enjoy sitting on, a Discord call or party chat or whatever, there's nothing like being able to look at the other person in the face and go telling them to go fuck themselves.
Oh, yeah? How about that? You fucking lost, bro.
Yeah. I don't care that you're 4. Eat my balls. Ah.
Jesus.
Oh, man. Confirmed. Chris is the worst.
Meanest uncle ever.
That's great. Lumbago in the chat earlier when we were talking about indie games and exploring that sort of stuff said literally playing Valheim right now. Core Keeper is a new one that also is really fun.
Core Keeper, I played that.
Dude, I've heard like 3 people talk about that game today.
Vampire Survivors is like my favorite. Like I said, great. $3 or $2.70 on sale. Which is, dude,
I talked about Vampire Survivors on this show. I'm still playing that game, and I only spent $3 fucking on it. I think I'm gonna check now. My Steam's open. I have 32 hours in it. I thought I had more than that, but
wow.
The point is,
that's a lot.
$3, right?
That's a third of a Persona game.
Yeah, like
$3. What a unit of measurement.
Core Keeper also. Think Core Keeper I got for like $12. And it's a neat little, like, it's very Minecrafty, but has like some mystery stuff to it. And you can play co-op with up to 8 people and stuff. Yeah, it's a neat little game. But yeah, there's tons of stuff like on Steam and just like out in the world that you can play. And that's not to say like if like what Brian was talking about, if you play, Smash Bros with your friends every Saturday and you have been for years and you're having fun, then who cares? You're doing what's in your heart, right? And if you want to, what's in your heart is playing all those PlayStation exclusives the moment they come out, then have a ball. But like,
for sure, man.
I'm trying to reach out to
but
the
not
people
in this
that are
house.
they're playing stuff that they don't want to be playing, and then I want to say, why are you doing that? There's a whole world out there of great stuff to do.
Yeah.
And so much of it is free also, like, or super cheap.
Or as part of like a really inexpensive subscription service. Like